Okay. Yeah. You can have the PPTs on Chitra ma'am's screen.
Okay, is it okay now? Can
Yeah,
you
it's
see my
visible now,
PPT
ma'am. Yeah, it's
presentation?
visible.
Start off.
Okay.
Yeah,
Renu ma'am,
yeah.
shall we start?
And here, Western Sydney University.
Okay. You just tell me when to change the slide. That's it. Okay. You just mention me next when I have to change to the next slide.
So, coronavirus.
Avishta?
കേൾക്കുന്നുണ്ട് ma'am.
Start ചെയ്തോ Avishta.
Now, early this year, that is in December 2021, we saw this whole virus endemic story coming through. And it has been then quite for everyone. Declared as a pandemic, it has wiped away hundreds and thousands of people, and millions are actually suffering from the virus. So it has been a lot in terms of what we have seen, what we have experienced. It was nothing that we could have ever experienced in our lives. We never thought that anything like this can ever happen to us. We have been hearing about things, about the plague, about XZ, about the but we never thought what it is going to be living in a situation where you are locked off. You are what to do. And there is this feeling of being very, very scared. So you can change light. That will be nice. Third slide on. Slide has got a few little slices coming out. And that slide gets you to think about what the pandemic has done for you. What have you been thinking and feeling about the whole thing? What your experience has been like? What was the has been the blow? Things changed for you. What did you see others do? What was happening in others' lives? What did you speak about? So these are some of the things that would have half of us would have thought about this. What is this? What do I do? Who do I? So in your time, if you chat function, if you want to write down, probably after man, then it's up with later time. That will be nice. For you to just since coronavirus outbreak. You want to do that? Do it. I will just wait and see what you are writing. Yeah, I can see. I can watch. Anybody write and you want to write that function? What somebody has been thinking, feeling about the virus? That will be nice. Any thoughts on the big blow? Any thoughts you since then? Okay, I don't see anything. No worries. You can write it later and you can have a chat about it a bit later. But move the next slide. That will be okay. All right. So when you have been thinking or talking, did you think about any of, are these things something like you have felt? Have you felt isolated? Have you felt lonely? Have there been any employment related issues? For example, here in Australia, millions of people actually lost their job, could not go to work because everything's down, and businesses were just shut off. So really difficult for people, and a lot of unemployment did occur. Government did in their own hands, and there were job keeper allowances and things that were given, but a significant loss in the jobs, especially in hospitality, especially when who were working in the shops, in the retail sector. They could really go because the shops were closed down. And so there was this whole thing where you had no control over anything. There was we are used to living in a very controlled environment. We are used to living in a situation where we would like things to have to be under our own control, so that there is some regularity, there is some sequence in our life. We don't like to work happily. Was imposed, and we just had no control. There were people who were telling us we were being, what we could do, what we could not do. We could not walk on the streets. There were families, young children, pets. They could not take them on a walk. So there, that kind of, that you can't life anymore. I'm sure many of you would thought, and you would have as well. The other thing that I see in many families was that there was a lot of tension, a lot of arguments happened, either things finishing off or by loss of, or because everyone's getting on top of each other's head now. We want work. It's like work from home, all good. Everybody needs space now to work. You need a desk, you need a computer. So there has to be an argument who does what, and what is available for one person may be available for another person. It was a big issue as well, which could have been leading to an argument. Some lost childcare because, especially here in Australia, when we lost the jobs, for example, we could not send our children to childcare. Children were kept back home. Now, childcare just doesn't mean childcare. I would say exposure to children. It provides a lot of information in interaction. Play items around and doing. They could not do then. The family there, if you were one person working and you have at home, that was a bigger. Lots and lots, and I think including us here in the meet, would have also experienced the stress of schooling from home or study from home. So homeschooling, yes, where parents have to teach their children, but also the university has been working online ever since March. I have not, for example, gone back to my university's computer, and this room's desk has been my workplace. So we've been tied up there. And then, of course, the experience of uncertainty has been very, very difficult. That's not good at all. Uncertainty about life, uncertainty about what's going to happen tomorrow, uncertainty about doing well. Will I be living? Will I catch the virus? That would also be a big blow to all of us. And I'm sure many of these things would be very familiar to all of us. Next slide, Chitra, please. All All right. Now, what is happening? Why do we react in this way? Idea of uncertainty. Why there is lack of control? What happens to us in these kinds of situations where we are trying to kind of find our own way? We are trying to find where we are living. Is tomorrow going to be a day for me to be up and alive or not? Now, if you look at this diagram here, it says, who do I choose to on COVID-19? This is a choice where each one of us needs to thinking here. What can I do? I want to be. Where do I want to be my an in control one? Do I want to in that fear state where I just don't know? I want to keep myself away, which we told yes. And then there were very many others that we were told to be in hands, putting on us, keeping a safe distance, and so on and so forth. So are again some of the things which keep us in fear. There is a lot of panic that comes through. And with the panic, what we see all over the world, it is not in one place, one part of what we saw was panic. So why panic buying? Because that is something I can help on. I go and buy and then with me better. That's the kind of person who was going and hoarding stuff. You go every day. We saw it all over the world, and of course in Australia as well. Toilet paper was one of those, highly sought after items. So we have one go more people eating. So numbers came, or their turns came, closing up their supermarkets. So that was a hard to be in. So therefore, being in that particular domain is our choice where we want to be. Now, in terms of the well-being component, how we want to spend our time would be the place being thing comes. It is important to understand what well-being is. So it's not just health, but well-being is how connected we are, interpersonal, less networks, that is interpersonal well-being, that is important. That was taken away again during the pandemic. Well-being, helping each other. Yes, some of us certainly did, and those who did felt good about it. But others who were in the fear zone did nothing. But yes, there was community. People wanted to ask you to call up, ask how you and so. If we did that, or if somebody was to do it for us, it was a good feeling that somebody cares for us. Now, emotional well-being is the one. This is about being engaged in our work. And if people lost their jobs, then their well-being was certainly not where it had been. So it is important to our workplaces that we focus strengths as well, not about things that we can't do. Yes, it is important to look up the things that are better and engage there, but also try and focus on our own strengths. That is really, really important. Then the physical and psychological well-being are the other domains, and these are called as domains of well-being. Good sleep, diet, exercise, everyone knows that is important for your physical self. But part of psychological well-being also is being social, being thoughtful, being lonely and associated with others. And all this will happen if we are creative, we are able to do things well together. And then there is this sense of efficacy, and what is efficacy? It is this sense that I can do, that the agency is there and I can do it, really important. Which is related to the job, racial security, because the basic needs can be looked after, you've got money. And then there are people who are all the time into buying things versus experience. Economic well-being could be buy, store, hoard, or it could be go around the world, enjoy the life. But again, there is an important thing to note, and I've highlighted that. When we are sad, we end up spending more money. We spend more money not when we're rich and happy, but we end up spending more money when we are sad. So it is like a cup thing. So you need to figure out for yourselves now where you are. And can we balance these is the question, because all of these are important. And can balance be holistic? That is a good question to ask ourselves. So possibly not really getting it, but some of it can certainly be there. Chitra, next slide. Okay. So then what balance look like? And as I said, can we really balance it? The thing here is it cannot be equal everything in our lives. Everything is never going to be balanced. Health, well-being, happiness, people around me, something or the other will not be working right for someone. The other important thing is if things are not really working, don't take the blame on yourself. Don't acknowledge, and it is okay, yes, that things are not working, but then don't start taking the guilt on your own self. That is not going to be helpful. The next important thing in our well-being is that we should not be. So if we were functioning in a way, for example, we were going to work to our workplaces, yes, that was ideal. But the difficulty came, we said, now you have to work from home. So those people who were flexible enough, they started working, they enjoyed working, they adapted. So that was the thing. So you have to be very realistic about your own selves and the others around you, and also be flexible in understanding, flexible in your working, flexible in your relationships. And that is also a good sign of being a normal person, good balanced person. The next one is a little smiley face, and I quite like that, which says, let us be kind. We need to be kind and rewarding. Don't be punishing to your own self all the time. If I've not done this, then I cannot do so and so. And for the others as well, do try and find faults all the time. See something that is really good in others and reward people. Reward yourself as well. Seeking and help is a good sign. It is a sign of strength. Some of us, in particular cultures, we do find that help seeking is not considered a good thing. If you think that you can't manage by yourself, it is important to reach out to people rather than struggle and then fail and then feel guilty. That's not going to be a good thing. Helping others in need is always going to be a good thing, thought. And importance to self-care. Don't just think about the world, but also think about your own self. Next slide. All right. Now, this was another little thing which I thought, how are you responding? And you can think about it in your own classes or at another time when you get together, maybe you can discuss this, that how are you responding in this whole situation, health and well-being? How is it balanced? Is it balanced? It's not balanced? What is life? Okay. Next, Chitra. I can people going, probably, I think it's the timing, but yeah, keep going. All right. Now, when you say how you are responding, the thing is, How brain responds during a pandemic, it is important for us to understand. Brain loves things in a certain way, which we call as autopiloting. We know where our things are, we know how we function every day, we start there, we end there. We know exactly where we car keys, etc., etc. So when there are new things and there is a load on the brain, we need to find new ways. So there is a loss of familiarity. There is a loss of working in our usual ways. And a new learning takes place sometimes interferes in the past as well. And that is why we experience a lot of anxiety. And that anxiety is something which the big thing here, big question mark that we are having. Some are experiencing more and some are. Next slide. Now, when I said some experience more anxiety, stress, and anxiety, yes, these are some of the ways in individuals actually react. Some of us cannot control our emotions. So it's that there is a fear, there is anxiety, there's a lot of experience. So there is this connection. And that connection, which is it's not one and the other going to be had, probably pretty much connect. So there are various ways in which people actually respond to their emotions. And it could be not really in the form of, oh, I am really, I take me out of it. Not really that way, but sometimes just be headaches. It may be I'm tired or stress, anxiety. We may not verbalize it, but it comes out into our in various ways. So it could be headache, it could be tiredness, it could be aches and pains, high blood pressure, rashes, itchiness in the throat. Hope not. Sometimes if we have throat reactors, stomach reactors, feel very grumpy stomach, all the in which an individual can respond, or the body of the individual can respond. But naturally it may because of the fear, because of the anxiety, and not really because you are tired. Tiredness is just an expression. Okay, Chitra. Now I have listed a few feelings here again, furthering. So it is a feeling faint, feeling numb, don't want to eat. There is loss of sleep. I lie in my bed, it's about coronavirus come. I have heard people, the numbers are increasing all over. In Europe, in US, every that counter that goes on. So that's a bit of, it's a really fearful. As I said, stomach related problems. Above all, there is the cookie time, because we are sitting at home, overeating as well. Overeating the bigger, and if we've been doing that, then there is some concern about our anxieties. We need to go back and check our own selves. What is it that is working right for me? And am I providing care for my own self or not? Okay, next slide. For those of us who have left or could not really stick on to our jobs, it's a bigger thing. And this one probably may not be very effective for many of the students, but maybe members of your family or in your neighborhood, dealing with the things where if you've lost jobs. So the more important in this particular case would be about the stage of your career, what diplomas you have, and then when you start searching and figure out where you want to start, depending upon your qualifications, your experience, etc. Just like Chitra. All right. Now it is when I said whereabouts you are, which end of your career you are, would actually determine the kind of job you would probably be looking. In the meantime, what happens is, because of the pandemic, because we are not going much, it may be just a good idea also to look into how we can upgrade our qualifications. Lots and lots of people have done online courses. They have reskilled them because they realized that the jobs were coming in certain sectors. Jobs were taken away some and given in the others, or made available in the others. So that was a good way of it. Next slide, Chitra. But no matter what, we need to keep focused. We should think that that's the end of the world. The skills that we can build up during this time when we are either searching for jobs, we are bottled up and we are behind closed doors, maybe with people. It's going to be teamwork, upskill your communication, look into how you can develop leadership skills. And as we said, as I said earlier, flexibility is really, really important. And along with flexibility, learning to work in those situations and one frame, everybody had this very big learning curve. And I think in our university, it was just a week's time that we all took to start working through online. Everybody started working. But everybody became efficient in the technology and it all worked well. That and the importance of technology in our lives is really important. So rather than saying, no, I want to go back, adapting and finding new ways to work and live and enhance well-being is going to be important. Yeah, next slide, Chitra. Right. Whilst we are working from home, these are some nice tips that I share more for self-care bit. So you can do care for your own self whilst you work from home. Now, one of the importance is that one should have a fixed time of working. What is generally happening, because we are working from home, we start very early, we are working all day, we eat between, we come back and start working. There is no defined time. We're bringing home to work to home, it's all getting mixed up. It doesn't provide that work life. So that's what the next one said. Whilst working from home, bring work home. So when you are home, don't do the work. And when you're working, don't bring the home there. So you have defined time. It is always good to be a transition time. I'm going to work, I'm letting people know I'm going to work. I'm finishing off, and you clean up your desk, leave your space where, so that you are not, you know that you are finishing off, and it's not the computer is left open 24/7. That really help. The other important thing is to choose one place to work from there. It gives you a sense of connection to the place. And that all adds to the well-being, because then you want to keep that place neat. You want to feel that's your workplace and it's not home. But everybody also knows that you're working at and they won't disturb you. And the thing that one needs to do is to avoid any kind of online distractions going on. If there what's coming out here, forget about there. Of work, other distractions, because then you will it become productive. At least set my routine today. I wake up at the same time. I start up at like as I'm going to work. So that also be a good thing. If that can work. The way you would dress up for work be a good thing to do. Build in the work, and then our things around as we are. Thinking, but we no, that's not really going to work. Next. All right, then have responded. So has COVID affected women the same is a very big question. And demands has actually been during this time. This is a bit of a serious thing. And so maybe I'll make a couple of minutes here. Told that staying home when you are unwell, you need to be staying home working. Be safe at home because it's those who actually don't feel very safe at home. So is home safe for everyone? Home a safe place for work? Is a home a safe place to be 24/7? Because a lot of us go out because we think it's important to go out and meet other people. I want to see someone else. Why just three people? We are kind of getting on to each other's back or head. So those would be some of the that when people were around, and then there are demands that are pretty much based more women. At home, then they can go because women are at home. They are working, but that's all right. But they can give food to the rest of the family. That is not happening, and doesn't happen because you are working and not really sitting. There may be a tussle in between the members of the family. So that's a hard thing. So one of the concerns that were happening, and because the women front, the frontline workers, etc., over 70% of them are women, have been nothing more as compared to men, and they were at greater risk. And so we deal that these things have not, the virus has not impacted the males and the females in a similar manner. The cis have not been, it's not been fair to both. No. Some have been more affected compared to the others. And in that sense, I would say that the women out in the world have been at a risk compared to men. Yeah, next slide. Now, the other fear that has been there is, and I'm sure many of us have experienced that, at least I have experienced, a couple of my very close relatives back in India, a few have passed away from the virus. The death and dying story, and I'm sure many of us have been hearing about it, experiencing it is an experience. But fortunately, it has been and some of us. Now, what happens in this particular virus situation is when people die in the hospitals or in nursing homes, then you can see them. You are not allowed to be by. So that last bit that you wanted to spend the time with your own people, you could not do that. And there is this very big unresolved, expressed unresolved feeling that causes a lot of guilt in people, and which we refer in psychology as unfinished business. So it simply means that I meet my uncle or cousin and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that, but I get the last chance to do that. And there is this very big sense of insecurity that comes in. There is again lack of control if they don't allow you. And there is a lot of, sorry, with the chat session that was happening. So, and help people. And then a lot of people is God. What is God? God is God will do this. God, but where is God? What has happened? And there has been not one, two, but millions have actually been wiped away from the planet. So there has been a bereavement overload. A lot of us have experienced that sense of loss, death, break of relationships, break of attachments, and that's a very big issue. Yeah, next one. So positive health can mean, and I have a few things. Need themselves, they do keep your relationships live, keep your connections yourself. There needs to be more positive. Is really, really important. Small thing can boost your sense of self. And the other bit, difference between males, that the women talk in very perfect house, perfect moms, in the kitchen, perfect cook. No. Everything not be perfect, and let us not very high standards. Once we set standards, then it becomes very, very hard and live up to them. And we can't live up to them, then there's a guilt feeling. That's going to be positive health and well-being. And one of the great scientists, his name is Donald Winnicott, he came up with the mission of good mother. Moms take this whole idea, my child, the best, my child, first class, I need to be the, no, you cannot be. You cannot be, you can't have a perfect this, that, and the. What you can do is to be good enough. Human beings are not wired for perfection. Cannot be perfect. Something or the other will go wrong. We can achieve X doesn't mean that it will go. But if there is that is guilty about it, to be guilt-free. That was the more important concept in being good enough. You try, then don't have feelings of guilt around. And Next slide, Chitra.
Ma'am, can we have the next slide?
We need to change the slide. Yeah. So how to go about it? And that again a listing of things. Sleep hygiene is important. Have your sleeping, waking dead the other time. So, have a good sleep habit. Well, which is again have it going a bit of a gunning. You have got little flower pots. Again, is a relaxing thing. And if you ever have any lots of fear and feeling anxiety about certain things, it is always good those to keep to themselves. Not only for others, to your own, for if you need to excuse yourself and say another time, maybe a time will be, that would be another way of at it, rather ruminate rather than over and over and over. That is rumination. So you have to manage your worry and that repetitive thought that comes over and over. This well, I should have done it. What would people be thinking? No, it's done. We need to go on rather than getting stuck there. And it is important to sometimes look up, go back and look things up that may have, bought at certain times. So, for example, there is a lot of that we elected over a period. So, each of or anything that you like, that powerful thing for an individual. Even if it was a piece of a stone, asks you, why is this stone? Oh, there is for it. That's where I picked it up. Some connect. And are they counter your thought process, counter the worry, counter the rumination. They are good. Try doing it. I like doing it. And if there are some nice things around, it could be a little toy, it could be something that you like, it could just be a drink, a mug that you like, any object. And if you ever think you haven't had your last tea that you had in that little mug, you have narrative and gives you a sense of connection. Next slide, Chitra. The other thing is that we need to be consuming less of internet information about COVID, about various things. So what otherwise happens is, no matter what, tension is building up. How many people have passed away? I know of many people who had this, app that they had downloaded to check what was happening in the world, the rate in which coronavirus was actually spreading, happening, how many people dying of coronavirus, or how many were children, how many were young people, and so on and so forth. So all this can be very, very stressful. Don't get into that component of that stress. And it was more about a little, cartoon there when we finished from this land that is earth, and when we go to God, probably that's what God is going to tell you. Actually, you had a pretty great life, but you were looking down at your phone and you missed it. So stop that. That's a bit of a worry, and that's a bit of a ongoing saga that continues. So manage your screen time well, which is a good way of the information diet that you control, and that will also control your anxiety. Next. And the last bits that I just wanted to say was reach out to others and stay connected. I think the good things to take away as part of health and well-being, that we need to be connected, looking after each other. And when we are doing things in a positive way, we need to believe that we are capable of making a change. We are capable of making a difference, not only for ourselves, but for others too. Yeah, next one, Chitra. Some resources that I have put out. These are pretty much from our Australian websites, so you can have a look at this one. And in your time, you can explore these. And the last slide is probably talking about your emails that you want to send. You can send them to us, and that's in the next slide, Chitra, which is the last one. To finish off, we've taken a lot of time off everyone. So let us know, email us, and thanks for taking the time out. And I'm very, very sorry for all the stuff that has gone around. I'm not sure why this was happening, but yeah, it did. So I'm extremely sorry for that. Maybe another time it will be better. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
If you have
Thank you,
questions,
Renu.
you can.
Ma'am, are we audible to you
Here,
now?
I can answer them. I can see the chat box.
Are we audible to you now, ma'am?
No, can't hear anything.
Okay. Participants, if you have any questions to ask, you may please.
Yeah, thanks, Chitra. I think we will call it a day.
Any questions?
Thank you, everyone, for staying back. Thanks a lot.
ടീച്ചർ ഞാനൊരു ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ ചോദിച്ചിരുന്നു ടീച്ചർ അത് കിട്ടിയോ?
ഒന്ന് ടൈപ്പ് ചെയ്തിട്ട് അത് വായിച്ചാൽ
ടൈപ്പ് ചെയ്തിട്ടിരുന്നു ടീച്ചർ.
Yes, the question is from Mahin. Ma'am, what would you like to tell us and the society about COVID-19 after you experienced it? What are the important changes came after facing the COVID-19 in Australia or people?
People in Australia were, I think, managed COVID very well. And there were, I would say, strategies that were put in place. So a lot of people were given money whilst they were not working. There was were given to people, so that. And but yes, certainly there were lots of job losses. That's a big thing. A lot of people in the old age homes away, which was very sad. That was a bit that different from India. That's happened. Very cooperative. People have been patient. They have lived in lockdowns for months together. Shop closed. No one, could really do much, but people help each other. Okay, so in terms of the brain response during the pandemic, the brain is good to be work a situation which is similar, which is the same every day. So with the virus coming, it has to brain doesn't like to start. It's happy doing things the way it actually does. So in the pandemic, there is a fear, we hold. If we help, we gain. Out of the fear. So if you look up that slide that had those, that will help you to understand where you are. But the autopiloting, which gets the brain to do things in a more usual way, everyday way. Our lives certainly remain altered. Go back to normal. Many of the still stuff, functioning the way we functioning. Those changes may still remain. So things go back. This may be the new normal, as we say. So that whole component flexible in your new world rather than grieving about the loss, grieving about one year, and we get it back. If we can't, thank you very much. No apologies for all the nonsense that happened. And I know technology fails us when we need most. Thank you, everyone. Off.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Maybe I can base with you at night when it's night. Bye. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. A big thanks to Renu, ma'am, though she is not able to hear us. Yeah, let's put thanks on record. And now, yeah, we are sorry that we were not able to give her a formal welcome or a formal vote of thanks, but still, may I invite Gayatri from S3 Communicative English to propose the vote of thanks.
Hello, ma'am. Am I audible now?
Yeah, sure, please.
Okay. Good afternoon. I'm honored and lucky to have the opportunity to give the vote of thanks on this special occasion. I would like to extend my sincere gratitude to our distinguished speaker, Dr. Renu Narchal, Associate Dean Engagement and International School of Psychology, Western Sydney University, Australia, for making this session a very meaningful and interesting one. Thank you, ma'am. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to our dear Principal, Dr. Anuradha Wiki, Vice Principal, Sri Samir S. for their amazing support. Thank you. I would also like to thank our teachers, Chitra Miss, Abhishta Miss, the organizing team, and our staff members. Thank you so much. It has been our pleasure to host all the participants of the webinar. Thanks for your support in making the session an active and enthusiastic one. Once again, thanking you all for your kind cooperation and making the session a grand success. Thank you.
Thank you, Gayatri. Now I've come to the thanks for your patience, for your good. Thank you. Thanks to Principal Chitra ma'am and Chitra ma'am. Yeah. let's end the meeting
Hello,
now. Thank you.
Avishta?
Yeah. Teacher.
Okay, okay. Okay, നമുക്ക് wind up ചെയ്യാം, Avishta. Thank you for the kind cooperation from all the participants, and thank you for Renu ma'am. I will call her personally and extend our heartfelt thanks for being with us for this inspiring session. Thank you for the participants and the coordinators. Thank you.